Hello friends, fans, and collectors. Welcome to another episode of Binary Sunset Review. We are finally at Season 3 premiere of The Mandalorian, and we're doing the Episode 1 recap. Here we go.
Commence primary ignition.
Long time coming for Season 3, and if you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, you're going to be a little bit confused coming into this premiere because Grogu and Mando are reunited again. And this was an exciting part of the end series finale of Book of Boba Fett, but they are not doing any backtracking and jumping right on into their reunion in Season 3. This episode opens on the Forge, and specifically the forging of a foundling. Now this starts with the armorer, our beloved armorer, making a Mandalorian helmet, and we know it's really tiny, it looks small, and I wanted it to be for Grogu. I know it's not, but it ends up being for this new foundling child, and we see that the Mandalorian, their little cult, the Death Watch cult, has grown in size. It's not just two people anymore. They have a bunch of different Mandos, all in different colored Mando armor, which I love. And they're there inducting a new Mandalorian child into their guild. And really, really well done with some of the art pieces. We have the Bannerman with the Mythosaur on it, as well as some other crest, which had like berries and blood on it. Very, very, really cool. They have their own Mandalorian code. We hear them recite it. It of course ends in "This is the way." And at the end of this ceremony, a giant beast comes out of the water and starts attacking this little Mandalorian sect. And we get some great action fighting this big old beast. I honestly am a little disappointed because they got their asses kicked a little bit. So they fight this beast. They do a lot of damage, but they end up needing to be saved by Mando, who swoops in with his Naboo starfighter and blasts the thing. This could have been an opportunity to really show some Mandalorian strength on screen that's not our protagonist, but instead they chose to have an opportunity to give Mando another chance to flex and shoot it with this Naboo starfighter and come in and land and move the plotline along. So boom, Mando's on the scene. Long of the short, these other Mandos picked the wrong watering hole, and they're not as strong as they really need to be. So, these loony Mandos, in their code, they have it where they can never take their helmet off. We were introduced this in Season 1. I rolled my eyes, everyone else went with it, but this is going on a redemption arc this season because Mando did take his helmet off a couple times, both to heal himself and to look at Grogu and talk to Grogu. This whole story arc of this season is Mando going back to Mandalore and bathing in the living waters underneath the mines of Mandalore. So this is where they used to get their Beskar, and it has been bombed and shattered to bits, and based on rumors and history, the Galactic Empire just glassed most of Mandalore. And so it's so much to a point where it's illivable, and even in some of the flashbacks that we saw in Book of Boba Fett, we actually saw them what looked like nuclear bombs, which we haven't seen often in Star Wars, but it would follow through because we saw them stalking through with just droids, no people. So there's potential that the ground is actually, they call it poison, but for us it might be irradiated by some of the bombs that the Empire dropped. So anyway, Mando's got to go here. He's got to go under the ground of this bombed, irradiated ground, and he's got to take a bath in these waters in order to be seen as a true Mandalorian again in the eyes of this cult. And he's taken a baby with him this time. So cool. So we then take off in our N1 starfighter, and I know this is a recent actual exclusive for Hasbro that we're going to get for the Mandalorian. Clocked in at $130 something to get this new vehicle, single vehicle with maybe one carded figure. But they're really pumping up this starfighter, and it is cool. I will say it is cool, but it's definitely not as cool as the Razor Crest. And it's a little bit illogical. I wish there was some landing gear that were there. I don't know how it has as much firepower as it could have with a hyperspace without a hyperspace thing. It shouldn't be able to travel through hyperspace like that. It does a little too much. It's a little Disneyfied. And I think that's one of my problems with certain things that used to be one of Star Wars' strong points, which is things, even though they were in an imaginary world, looked real and logical in some kind of way. And now we're just supposed to Disney magic, blink our eyes and believe. Which is fine. But again, I'm gonna go on a rant about the Starfighter because it's not my favorite ship. So the pair travel to Navarro, and in hyperspace, they end up seeing Purgill. And this is the first time we're ever seeing live action Purgill. Of course, we didn't see them actually, we saw them through the hyperspace shadows. These are from Rebels, the animated series, these force beasts that exist kind of like in the hyperspace channels, gigantic creatures, and they were used in the season finale, as we all know. Ezra had this connection with them, so this is a great Easter egg. We didn't get a lot of Easter eggs really in this show, and it was shorter than normal, which is a little bit weird, but this was a fabulous Easter egg and a nod to us getting to see Ezra at some point later down the road, and we know this is coming, which is amazingly exciting. But live action Purgill, fabulously beautiful, and just a momentary bit in hyperspace there, and then we were gone. So our boys get to Navarro, and man, has Navarro changed. Navarro is a sprawling, vibrant city with agriculture and greenery and new buildings, just a completely different place than we had seen before. We learned that Greef Karga, who is now the magistrate, has just really transitioned this into a prime tradeway along the Hydian Way. And that's a really famous Star Wars hyperspace route that we know. So he's just made the planet a really, really famous destination on an already famous stop. So money's a-flowing when you're on the route. And this really has turned around the city in a really cool way. We have alien street bands, we have vibrant colors, we have monkey lizards in the trees, some really fun Star Wars nods, and Navarro's looking a ton better than when we saw it last. In the center of Navarro, there's also an IG-11 memorial, which we learn later actually ends up being the IG-11 himself, but they put up his corpse in a memorial, and Mando asks to get the body back to try and rebuild him. And this is where I have a little problem with the story, because IG-11's self-destruct sequence was specifically designed to not leave any kind of things that you could rebuild or do this with. And in that sense, the thermal detonator was located right here next to his central core processor and his head. So if you were to find any parts of that blown up suicided IG unit, it would maybe be his little boxy legs or maybe his limbs, but not the full torso that we saw him pulling out there. Just doesn't make any sense why that would be reclaimed. So a little bit upset about that as this storyline, which is, oh, let's just bring everything everyone liked back. We'll bring IG-11 back. And no, I'm not down with it. So aside from the plot point being IG-11 back a little silly, there they are, and they have to take them to some Azellans. And these are the little Babu freaks that were in The Last Jedi, the tiny little droid smiths that are like doll size. And there's a little clan of them, and they're droid makers, obviously. And so I did like seeing them. It was cute, it was silly. And now the plot point is, oh, we just need one part and then we can rebuild them. It's just a really hard MacGuffin part, though. So not only does he have to bathe in some nuclear waters, he's also got to get a really rare IG-11 component, which is all right. I like that, I guess, but there shouldn't be anything left of IG-11. I do enjoy that they do, before they take him to the Azellans, we get like a pet cemetery scene where they revive IG-11 by just hooking up normally, but, you know, they don't come back the same, and he comes back on his original programming, and he tries to kill them both and tries to assassinate Grogu. And it's a really, really cool, creepy scene. I really did enjoy it because these IG-11 droids are supposed to be terrifying, and even though the one that we saw, the nurse droid, was fabulously cool, they're spooky creatures. It's really great to see Greef Karga. He's got a much more glitzy and glamour getup. He even has droids that carry his cape as he travels along. And we still do get shown that he is still the same tough Greef Karga he was before, despite his looks and his demeanor. We get a shot of this when in the town square some pirates come back to what used to be a pub, but what is now a school, and Greef ends up quick drawing and blasting one of them in the hand, and it was really a great scene to show that Greef still commands this space. Then of course when leaving Navarro, Mando and Grogu are attacked by the space pirates they antagonized back on world. They're in some cool, awesome pirate Star Wars ships though. I don't remember the class. Please leave comments below if you know that starship class, but really great classic pirate ships, both in the assault fighters and the actual pirate ship himself. Gorham Shaw is this kelpy looking Davy Jones almost like pirate captain. He's got this great look to him, and he's got this classic tiger shark looking pirate ship. There's an awesome dogfight, and it's pretty cool. I will have to say that monologues before dogfights are dumb. I'm tired of seeing them. Their next destination is Kelvala. Now, Kelvala is a Mandalorian-owned planet in the sector, and it's where Bo-Katan's family might be originally from, because we see her staying at Kree's castle. So either they erected this castle when they took over this land, or this might have been their original ancestral land, but Bo-Katan and the Kree's household have a castle here, and she is just sulking about. She is like, for the one opportunity when they could have had it cool to have some blue grog or something, she is just sitting in her like throne, all beat up. And whereas we saw her in the end of Book of Boba Fett with we gave her a light cruiser, we saw her with this like small Mandalorian army, they all dispersed. And I'm not a fan of this in general, because I wanted to see more Mandalorians. I was getting really geared up for Mandalorian Civil War, and then just in the disbursement and the time off screen, oh, they're all gone. They're all just gone. So our only shot of Bo-Katan is her, in the doldrums telling Mando that Mandalore is just destroyed. That if he's going to have any luck, they're going to be below, the mines are going to be below the capital city, and he might die there. He's going to die there. So that really is kind of depressing little introduction for Bo-Katan, and upsetting as a fan to hear that we're not going to see her stalking some part of the galaxy in that assault cruiser. Thought it was an interesting season premiere, very short. So this was 37 minutes long, and I have to say that with the quality of Andor, the quality and length of Andor, they set the bar so high. I'm judging every Star Wars show by that from here on out. I can't not. And some of these ones have felt phoned in. I'm not going to say this fully about Mando, but man, it felt short, and I wanted more. I needed more, especially for a premiere. In that same ilk, I thought it was really exciting last season getting introduced to the Night Owls and Bo-Katan and other Mandalorian guilds potentially being out there. The world was big, the world was potentially full of Mandos, and with this season, it looks like they've shrunk our galaxy, and there's not that many Mandos anymore. There's not gonna be, and we're just gonna see the little sect that we've seen for the last 2 seasons. We've seen better, and we deserve better. So give us more, give us longer episodes, give us some quality stuff that we've seen. Andor seriously did raise the bar, and we're gonna be asking for more as Star Wars fans. Thanks for watching another episode of Binary Sunset Review. Please hit the like button below. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't yet done so, subscribe and hit the notification button. Be sure to leave comments below. Let me know what you think about this season premiere of Mando. Have a great day out there. Stay safe, stay sane, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.
I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe.